Did you guys know that the Slammy Awards returned to WWE this year on WrestleMania weekend? I sure really didn't notice until like way later, and for good reason. It's really bad. We're going to talk about it on Tap Out Talk today. It's the return and the 15th annual edition of the Slammies, the Fans' Choice Awards. I don't know how the fans would have voted for this or when it was even advertised on WWE TV for them to go online and vote or use social media. Big E and Kathy Kelly are your awkward hosts for the evening, and R-Truth is there to engage the crowd in some cheap pops and some comedy relief. You hear the fans and the production I got going on here on Tap Out Talk? It's going to be a little bit better than what we got on the Slammy Awards, but let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's get in. I'm your host, Bryan, the Hype Ballard, and let's talk about who won, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on who should have won some of these Slammy Awards. So first and foremost, our Best Entrance Award. The presenter is Wade Barrett, and he gets introduced, and he's got some bad news. It's going to be a bad evening, everyone. He was very, very right. The nominees for this award: Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair for her WrestleMania 39 entrance, Cody Rhodes for his fan interaction, Dominic Mysterio for his prison escort at WrestleMania 39, and Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns, The Rock, and Seth frickin' Rollins. Cody Rhodes was your winner of this one, and I gotta agree with that. Cody was the right man to win this award. He accepts the award via pre-recorded video. He talks about the song Kingdom and how it was with him forever, and the fans doing the whoa, and that's perfectly fine. I love the fact that Cody kept his theme song from when he was not in WWE and brought that with him. It's part of his character and his embody of what he is. There are other entrances I like. I like Roman Reigns' entrance. I like The Rock's new entrance. But when we talk about a year long, Cody's entrance, and the only one that really competes with it is the fans singing along with Seth frickin' Rollins. A lot of fan engagement in that one as well. But either way, Seth Rollins or Cody would have been my choices, and I'm going to say Cody was an okay choice. We then get to the Match of the Year candidates. This award is presented by Gabriel, as they call him Fluffy, Iglesias, and it's a very, very awkward interaction with Kathy and Big E and him. Very awkward, and this is where the show kind of goes off the rails. But we get the nominees. We got Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn from Elimination 2023. And while that was a great feud to kind of pay off a little bit towards WrestleMania 39 last year, right before it, it didn't last the whole entire going a year back. So that's why that one didn't get it. We got Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. Very, very good match to WWE WrestleMania 39. It set the tone for Rhea Ripley having one of the most dominant years as champion. We've got Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest at Backlash 2023. And I will say I had a moment of clarity about how good that match was in a main event at Backlash in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I will say that match might be the testing ground of what a year Damian Priest would have as Senior Money in the Bank, and maybe why he is a current world champion. Also, we have Asuka versus Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam 2023. And while I think that was an okay triple threat match, I don't know if it was a match of the year candidate, even with a cash-in by Io Sky. Gunther versus Chad Gable on September 4th, 2023, Raw for the IC title, making Gunther one of the longest IC champions of all time in history in the WWE. Okay, maybe history was made, but still not the winner of the Match of the Year. Match of the Year definitely is going to Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39. Rhea now also accepts this via a video package with no in-person introduction, just like Cody did in his last award. And an awkward transition to Ripley saying that the year was great, and this adds to her other awards throughout the year. Then we get an awkward transition begin again through Gabriel Iglesias, Big E, and Kathy when they got no chemistry here, and he introduces Charlotte Flair, who does come out in person. She comes out, she accepts the award for her half of the award, and it's her first real actual appearance in a long time. She talks about her passion, how all she wants to do is make us boo, cry, and cheer. She mentions that she misses everyone and will be back by WrestleMania 41. Right in the middle of the speech, though, we realize Charlotte notices that there's a teleprompter there for her to use, which means this was no rehearsal and no idea what they should have done. And then we get an awkward transition to Gabriel again, and it's really amateur hour here at the Slammies, and this is what leads us kind of to the next award and the next presenter. I will say Charlotte did better without reading the teleprompter, and I just felt like I was watching the backyard video of the Slammies. Let's move ahead, and Charlotte is your presenter for the Breakout Superstar of the Year. That's fine. In Superstar of the Year, we got our nominees. Dragon Lee had a very fine year as the up-and-coming lucha wrestler. We've got Jey Uso as a nominee. And while I think Jey had a good year, I don't know if Jey's breakout year was this year or last year. We got LA Knight, who definitely had a strong case for breakout of the year, even main eventing with Roman at one point. We also have Pretty Deadly as a tag team for Superstar Breakout of the Year. And then Tiffany Stratton, freshly up from NXT with her Barbie-like character. So ultimately, the winner here is LA Knight. It is the right call. It is the right guy. He is the Breakout Superstar of the Year, and he's got a great WrestleMania match with AJ Styles, a former world champion at WrestleMania, and I feel like LA Knight's going to even have a bigger breakout year the next year. We do get another awkward exchange with Gabriel and Charlotte Flair, still trying to figure out who needs to hold her award while they talk about this award. We finally get LA Knight on another pre-recorded speech from him winning it, and LA Knight talks about creating an empire and winning this award in 2024 and 2025 and 2026. Yeah! We then get some R-Truth humor in the crowd to save this even more awkward event. And he has cue cards himself, in which it's just reading off a grocery list. And I'm shaking my head at this point. And it just seems very awkward. And it seems like they were more honed in on like the shtick of the night versus the actual and the humor and versus the actual award itself. I was expecting this to be more of a Hall of Fame style type WWE presentation, but it really was not that. Next, we have NXT Superstar of the Year award. I do like this award. I like we have Superstar of the Year and NXT Superstar of the Year, because NXT, like I said, is training in progress, and we got to recognize those that are the up and coming. Booker T comes out. We get a shucky quack quack moment, and then he puts over NXT. Booker's a great presenter for this award, and we get our nominees. Braun Breaker. While I think Braun Breaker, I think his time was the year before. We get Carmelo Hayes, who had a really great year becoming champion. Ilya Dragunov, who was just a workhorse of NXT and made everyone look good in that ring, could be a viable candidate. Lyra Valkyria was a nominee for this award. Give me a break. Then we get Tiffany Stratton. It's Tiffy time. And then the winner of this award, that's it. And I'm a little disappointed there was no Trick Williams for NXT Superstar of the Year, because to me, Trick Williams had the best year in NXT, and he was actually my Rookie of the Year in my awards over there on the Fans of Pro Wrestling, Wrestling Fans Insight with the team. But ultimately, we do get Tiffy time, and Tiffany Stratton is in person to accept this award. And she talks about it being her time, Tiffy time, and she goes in total Valley Girl fashion, and she accepts and introduces Sal from Impractical Jokers. And he walks out, okay, and then she talks about herself again. After introducing him, she goes back into herself and talks blindly a little bit about No Mercy this year and a couple other things. Sal then kind of awkwardly again interrupts and asks why they aren't following the prompter. And we really are getting amateur hour here at this event with no rehearsals, you can tell. Tiffany tries to give him a coffee order and tries to go into character, And then we get a transition to Rivalry of the Year, and I guess they're the nominators, or Sal from Impractical Jokers is the nominators, along with Tiffany for this Rivalry of the Year award. So Sal tries to seal the award by mentioning great rivalries like The Rock and Stone Cold, among others from the past. And we get our nominees. We got Dominic versus Rey Mysterio in the father-son match. But again, to me, that only was up through WrestleMania and festered throughout the year. We then get Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes which I would agree, yeah, that is a rivalry of the year because Cody fought to get back to WrestleMania after losing at WrestleMania 39, all the way to WrestleMania 40, and that did last a whole year. Bianca Belair versus Damage Control. That did take up the first half of the year a little bit. And then we got Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. And while that's a really fun feud to watch, it is only during WrestleMania season. And then we get R-Truth versus Judgment Day, much in the same. Only recently has that feud really been going on. So ultimately, we do get Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes as your rivalry of the year, not against much competition here. Sal puts over his comedy show before actually giving the award. And then we get Cody versus Roman as the award winner. Cody, via another pre-recorded video, probably taped at the exact same time when he was given all these awards, talks about losing at WrestleMania 39 and how he worked very hard to get back to Roman at WrestleMania 30 or 40. And I'm okay with that, and I feel like that was appropriately given. Next, we get a couple weird awards. Big E makes a comment that says, oh, all great award shows give out awards before they actually happen and don't have them on here. I take that as the cheap production of the WWE in this one, just to say, wow, we ran out of time. We need to hurry up and get through these awards so we can get to the main event awards. So very quickly, with no nominees and barely a video package, we actually don't even get nominees for these awards, but we just get Fan Chant of the Year. Yeah, LA Knight. We also then in this award get a mic drop of the year. We get Paul Heyman talking about Dusty Rhodes to Cody and his favorite son, and Roman Reigns being the son he always wanted. Okay, no nominees, just a straight up award. We also get the Rizzy Award winner. Don't know what that is or what that's for, but by God, Seth Rollins is getting an award today at the Slammies. We get a Villain of the Year award. Dominic Mysterio. I agree with this one. Dominic has been the Villain of the Year, by far none. He is definitely the one that got heat and grew the most as a villain, so I do agree with this one, even though he had no competition as nominees. We got Trash Talker of the Year. I guess we had to find a way to promote The Rock on this show, so don't get me wrong, The Rock and his heel character has been great. Even bringing back the Rock concert. And I will say, I'm enjoying the current run of The Rock, and I just felt like it was forced to try to give him some kind of Slammy. And none of these award winners even got a pre-recorded session for it. They just gave the award out and moved on. And before we move on here and wrap up, I want to just say, guys, hit the like button if you like wrestling, even if you didn't like the Slammies. Ugh. But ultimately, I feel like I'm bashing it too much. But ultimately, hit subscribe, helps me out. Check us out, thefansofprowrestling.com, with the whole team. We run Twitter Space all week long. But ultimately, we do get back into the Faction of the Year, and that's presented by Dominic Mysterio, who comes out to a lot of boos. Then we get a transition to Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce as presenters. The nominees for this award, who did lose, are Alpha Academy, cool, The Bloodline. Probably my second place for this award. They, get dominated the last few years, though. Damage Control, another maybe third place option. Then Imperium. But Judgment Day ultimately was the winner here. And I would say, yeah, Judgment Day was my Faction of the Year. They were all over the place on the main roster and even going down to NXT, where Dominic and Nami, Rhea Ripley, went down to NXT and spread the love a little bit. While we also had Damian Priest winning Money in the Bank. We also had Finn Balor in the finals for the newly crowned World Heavyweight Championship. So we had a lot of great stuff from the Judgment Day this year. And I do say they are the Faction. We get a pre-recorded segment. Even though Dominic's there to make a speech, we go to the pre-recorded segment featuring Dominic as well. And then Dominic tries to give a speech to Booze, and the general managers in comedy-style fashion carry him off the stage, really kind of making him look kind of goofy. We get Social Star of the Year. I wasn't really sure what this was going to be, and it's basically a social media popularity contest. So the presenter was R-Truth in the crowd, and he gets Kayla Braxton and Byron Scott to stand up, who were just attending and sitting, and they look awkward, like they didn't know they were going to be the ones introducing the award. So they do it from the crowd, and at this point, Byron Scott says, "Is there a video package?" And then they play a video package. So ultimately, we get the nominees. We get Logan Paul, Liv Morgan, Chelsea Green, who's done great work in the last year, Grayson Waller, and Drew McIntyre. We've got Drew McIntyre as the winner here. I'm not hating that pick. I probably would have picked Logan Paul because social media, that's his thing, if you wanted to kind of play that angle. But Drew McIntyre has had some great moments, even at Mania this weekend, playing into the social media, bored at work. However, we then got back to Kayla and Braxton, now on stage where they're supposed to be, I guess, and Chelsea Green comes out thinking she won the war, but Drew actually shows up for a speech, which I thought was kind of cool that Drew actually showed up for this thing, and he threatens to have security escort her out. Then CM Punk chants ensue, and Drew plays into it and calls CM Punk quote-unquote glass. Nice dig there by Punk, or to Punk on Drew, from Drew. And then he says he would even get hurt showing up if he showed up because he's made of glass. Drew then puts over Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. Good job from the seasoned veteran here to do that. And then ultimately says, but Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre should have won that one. Drew McIntyre in this single promo put over CM Punk, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, and Sheamus and himself. Guys, that's Chris Jericho-like status right there, being able to put over so many guys in one speech. Again, Drew might be my new hero. Anyway, Drew then offers to give this award to Punk, since he can't win anything this weekend. And while it was a good heel play, the way the night was going, I felt like that just cheapened up the Slammies even more. And I almost wish that he wouldn't have said that, but maybe it was too far gone by then, so he figured you guys would get some value out of this. So he's your social star of the year. We then get the New Day coming out to join a Big E, and since there's two members of the New Day joining to give the award, they're going to give out the next two awards. Okay, so we get Female Superstar of the Year. Our nominations are Bayley, who's had a recent quick good run, Becky Lynch, who has had a really great year since her return, and she even went down to NXT to help put over Tiffany Stratton, so I would say that would give her a qualification. Bianca Belair had a great run in the beginning of the year, and then we have Io Sky, who had a good run in the second half of the year, so it's kind of half and half there. But Rhea Ripley is going to be your winner on this one. And we get another pre-recorded segment with Mommy, with Rhea Ripley. But freshly off defending the Women's World Championship against Becky Lynch last night, prior to this filming, Rhea Ripley took home the Female Superstar of the Year. And I will say she was be my first choice. She was all over the place this year as well, just like Becky. And she not only put herself over, had great matches, but she also put over a faction and other superstars, older, veteran, and young and up and coming. So yeah, Rhea's definitely my Female Superstar of the Year. We got the Male Superstar of the Year again by the New Day. This time the presenters are gonna, or the nominees are gonna be Gunther. Yeah, he's had a classic legacy run this year as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. We got Logan Paul. Not sure really why he was up for Male Superstar of the Year. Roman Reigns, who's had a dominant last few years. Cody Rhodes, who's had a fighting heart of a pre-champion year. And then we got Seth Rollins, who had to own a new title and really try to create it out of being irrelevant and make it into something. And he was our workhorse champion. Ultimately, this award goes to Cody, and I do think it is the right choice. Cody had a year of ups and downs, losing at Mania, working all year, having a feud over the summer with Brock Lesnar, and just kind of fighting all the way back to WrestleMania, winning the Rumble 2 years in a row, and finally getting his moment that he wanted to fight for. So Cody, another pre-recorded, acceptance speech. It would have been nice if the stars of the winners would have showed up for this a little bit, but he was probably doing other things on Mania weekend. Promoting the WWE 2K24 was something he talked about here. Then the American Nightmare was named the promotion, beating again Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Gunther, and Logan Paul. A lot of those guys had good years. Then we get the oh my god moment of the year, and this is the last two awards of the night, and the return of the year. We get Megan Morant and Sam Roberts from WWE The Bump, and they put over their show saying they'll have Jey Uso on later today. Sam Roberts talks about the OMG standing for One Man Gang Award. I kind of like his take on that, and I thought it was kind of a fun way to play into a little bit. But the nominees for this award were Rey Mysterio punching Dominic on SmackDown, Io Sky cashing in Money in the Bank at SummerSlam 2023, CM Punk returning to the WWE Survivor Series at 2023, Damage Control turning on Bayley, and The Rock slapping Cody. I really think there's a couple of them that could have, like maybe The Rock, but the right call here was CM Punk returning at Survivor Series 2023. That was an oh my god moment, and I will say it did shock a lot of us, so that's where this should have went. Nominees then are given. Punk looks like he wants to leave after giving a speech. He says that he's going to accept the OMG moment, plays into the one-man gang comment. He talks about he's back where he truly belongs. And he does a good job of putting over again the one-man gang, but then the announcers have Punk stay and tell him, well, don't leave yet. The next award is the Return of the Year award, and we think you have a good chance of winning this. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Ugh, very cringe moment there. But then we get an even worse moment. The video for this award doesn't play. The stage lights go dim, and we just get CM Punk and Kathy and Big E awkwardly standing on the stage with the lights off. And while the promo, we hear it playing, we don't see the video on the Peacock Network. And we get our nominees for this Return of the Year award: Nia Jax, Randy Orton, CM Punk, The Rock, and Naomi. And then they come back on, they turn the lights on, and we then get CM Punk being handed this award, and they say, hey, give another speech. And he says, I need to just duplicate the speech I gave. Didn't really have this ready. And again, just kind of another rough effort. And then awkwardly, as that's over, Big E says, well, we got to wrap things up. Thanks for coming by, everyone. So this was super rushed. The production felt like they fell asleep a lot here in the morning. I think they maybe were just tired from Mania the night before. But ultimately, CM Punk gets 2 awards in 1, which I didn't really think was overly necessary. Let's get into our final thoughts. And I want to talk about the final thoughts. Is the main thing is the WWE Slammies, it could be a fun event. And I do like the idea of maybe thinking about having it at Mania over the weekends. But if you're going to do it, let's do it right. Let's do a red carpet walk. Let's make it maybe paired up with the Hall of Fame ceremony in one night. I don't know. Or maybe you have something similar, right? So, I felt like it could have been Hall of Fame quality. And I felt like instead of, Armani or Gucci, we were seeing the softer side of Sears here. And I felt like it just wasn't really, up to par with what the WWE was doing on WrestleMania weekend. And so for me, my final thoughts are, if we're not going to do this, let's just cancel the Slammies again. And fan voting, that's a great idea, but let's make it like Taboo Tuesday or Cyber Sunday pay-per-views back in the day, where the fans could actually go on WWE.com and submit their votes and make it feel real and genuine and announce the votes live as the polls close, right? And while you could have the pre-recorded for some of the participants, I felt like there wasn't enough participants that even cared to show up to this, so they recorded some quick comments, and there just wasn't enough in there to save the show. That paired with the rough production. And I'm going to just kind of implore you guys, I watched this because I wanted to cover it, but I would actually shy away from this whole event unless you want to have it on a play and just kind of see how bad it is. But don't say I didn't warn you. Ultimately, my final thoughts are, it's an absolute, I'm going to tap out on the Slammy Awards here on Tap Out Talk, and I just cannot promote it. And hopefully we can do better next year with it. And those are my results and final thoughts. All right, guys, I'm going to head out of here. Thank you again. Let's get out from the crowd, escape the paparazzi, and it's not goodbye. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and it's not goodbye. It's game over.